Real Hi-Fi Help. Back today to give you some really good tips for creating that top high-end headphone sound. It's very difficult tuning into the very best headphone sound. There's this sort of what's it called, standard of sound that you get, which I would say is pretty flat, bright, mechanical, and uninteresting. And of course, usually the more amount of money that you spend on a product, the more that you get, the more sound that you're getting. But I still feel that audio solutions within the headphone industry is just so limited. So I discovered a couple of ways for you to get into that really top, really good sound. So it almost seems as if you've got a very good speaker system, really good speaker system. So let's dive into it. First point is most headphones sound horrible. So I suggest only focusing on types of headphones that have a minimum quality of standard that's equivalent to Sennheiser HD600, HD800 Mark 1, or these LCD2 Biodynamic T1, or some kind of a mid-range Grado Hi-Fi Man, or it could also be some other manufacturers. But I feel that in order to appreciate good headphone sound, you basically have to start there. Anything below that is, for me, far away from good headphone sound. So, and if you want the really good stuff, the really good stuff, then you have to start with stuff like Focal Utopia, which is a fantastic headphone, really fantastic headphone, very natural, or these LCD 3 or 4. It's also equally as good in my ears, but a very different type of sound. Either you like it or you don't. Of course, the Abyss Phi TC, which is a crazy good headphone. I'm pretty sure it's one of the top 5 headphones ever built. And then there's the new Headphone, which is also pretty good, but it's not as good as. I don't think it's as good as the Abyss headphone, the Headphone. It is very good, but it again has its own sound. So, and then there's the truly best headphone ever, and that's the Sennheiser Orpheus. But that also costs as much as a middle class car, so it kind of makes sense. So price wise, you can't really compare these other headphones to the Sennheiser Orpheus, which then also comes with its own amplifier. So that's also important. Now, most good headphones are really held back by their cable standard. So especially if you take all the top Sennheiser headphones, and especially the Audeze headphones, you shouldn't really be owning an Audeze headphone and putting a really good amp to that headphone without putting a much better than standard headphone cable on an Audeze headphone, because I don't know what it is, but these standard cables with Audeze headphones, they make the soundstage artificially small, and it's a bit like driving a really good sports car with a small exhaust. You're almost listening to the sound through a very small hole. So I suggest getting a really good cable. And then of course I have to mention that there's Foodtech plugs and Nutric and Oyate and stuff like that. And you can of course get Carter, Silver, Dragon cables, and even better, the cables that no one really gets is AudioNote Silver. AudioNote Silver cables, you can always get some kind of AudioNote dealer to make that for you, and that's probably going to cost like twice the amount that these other cables cost. But trust me, it's worth it. It gets a lot more natural, and you don't get this like bling effect that's with most hi-fi gear in the world. So I did that, so I don't regret doing that. And as a last tip, I suggest getting a proper triode tube amplifier that is usually around 8 watts, and simply converting it into a headphone amplifier. Now, who would have thought of that? But that actually creates a fantastic sound. So it basically functions as a traditional speaker amplifier that it's built for, but you have some kind of a store. Could be an AudioNote store, I don't know, it could be some other store. And what they do is they basically put some kind of converter on it. So you're basically listening to the speaker signals being sent out and it being directed to the jack. So this conversion process usually costs around $500 and gives you just a lot more value than buying a headphone amplifier in store. So the reason why I said triode is because it's the warmest and it's the most musical and pleasant tube sound, and that's why it's perfect for headphones, because it's difficult to convert a very good and revealing and slightly raw tube amplifier into a headphone amplifier. You usually don't get really good results with that, because then the headphone many times fights against the amplifier. So that's a very good tip. That's by the way just my phone making that sound. And let me give you an example of that. Should I put my phone over here so it doesn't make so much noise? Sorry. And so what I did was I bought a basic AudioNote Maishu integrated 8 watt 10-year-old amplifier, and that was around $2,000 I used on that, and then I paid for having it converted into a headphone amplifier. So it powers up the speakers, and I have a switch that I just flip on the back, and it basically gives me a $10,000 tube amplifier for my headphone and a normal $10,000 tube amplifier for my speaker. So you save a lot of money, and you just get a very high quality sound. And I'm just guessing that it's around $500 doing this. It depends on the materials that you use and who you go to, but I would say that typically a good tube headphone amplifier usually costs around $5,000, and even those are pretty limited. So the ones that, it was only when I got up to the really good ones around $8,000 to $15,000 normally that I was getting satisfied and feeling that, okay, this is really good, and I would never really have to upgrade this because this is just world class. So but then I just thought, why don't I just try and convert, get a technician to convert a really good amplifier into a headphone amplifier, and it just works like magic. So very good idea to do that. And remember, you don't want to do this with a cheap transistor amplifier. You might be able to do it with some transistor amplifiers, but they're usually not that good, and there's usually a lot of noise in the signal, which you don't want, especially when you've got a headphone on. So and if you're really smart and you find a high quality amplifier just like I did, and you want to convert it, then you can also have a professional Nutric jack plug installed. So that's basically something I had done with a basic audio note silver cable, and then I had the inlet plug replaced, so I got inlet R in my amplifier. Some people can go for Furutech. I would usually only go for Furutech if I had a transistor amplifier. But I mean that's basically it. So yes, this specific amplifier that I chose, it can be a bit difficult getting a hold of. I mean, a thing like that probably costs, I don't know, I'm just guessing $10,000-$15,000 new. This amplifier that I got, but what did I pay for it used? Yeah, around $2,000. So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal for a 10-year-old audio note amplifier. It was one of the basic versions, so I mean, yeah, that is pretty good. And on top of that, I also have to say that if you at the same time also have a phono stage in the amplifier, then again you save a lot of money, and then again you don't have to listen to CD or DAC material, which usually is a bit more fatiguing, especially with a headphone. So yeah, if you have something like I just shown you here in this picture here, Audio Note MyShow integrated phono version, yeah, buy that. Get an amplifier that fulfills those functions, and you will be very, very happy. But you can also go for like some, I don't know, some kind of cheap triode amplifier that you've maybe thought about buying for yourself. So yeah, a very good tip for you guys, and wish you a good day. Bye.